promise boom. You see, they listen to what mother has to say. As a child, life moves in a dream. Rest your hands, let the bird go free. Why don't you listen to what mother has to say? Oh, why have people broken the peace with you? Oh, Mother Earth, Mother Earth, as your children, Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Mother Earth, praise the Most High.
Teach my eyes what makes rivers flow. Let me try, on my knees I plead. Oh, give me strength to face the shame of all my deeds. Fill my heart with the breath of love. Wash away all my hidden faults. Oh, will you answer me with one last chance to say that they will dawn when people open up their lives? Oh, let us sing, yeah. Mother Earth, bless your children. Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Mother Earth, praise the Most High. Mother Earth, bless your children. Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Mother Earth, praise the Most High. Mother Earth, bless your children. Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Mother Earth, praise the Most High. Mother Earth, bless your children. Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Oh no, Mother Earth, praise the Most High. Mother Earth, bless your children. Mother Earth, forgive us once more. Mother Earth, give us a chance. Mother Earth, praise the Most High.
Good morning to all. Maayong umaga, Luzon. Maayong buntag, maayong aga for our participants from Visayas and Mindanao. I hope you all had a good rest. Here in Dumaguete, it's quite cloudy, but it's still a beautiful day, for we are now on our second day of our Mariapolis. And yesterday, we discovered that there are those coming from other countries, like there was a group from Singapore, Canada, and Dubai, I think. So welcome also even to those who are outside the Philippines. We warmly welcome you to this second day. Now, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Eleanor from Dumaguete City.
And I am Roy from the city of Cebu. And we are your hosts for this morning's program. Now, we want to invite you to pause for a moment of prayer before we proceed. Lord and giver of all life, help us to value each person and creature created in love by you. In your mercy, guide and assist our efforts to promote the dignity and value of all human life, born and unborn. We entrust to you this day as we continue our Mariapolis. May we be witnesses to your love, show it forward to others. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Yesterday morning, we discovered the meaning of the word Mariapolis. It's the city of Mary. And this is an event that we do once a year, locally or globally. And up to this point, I can still remember vividly my first Mariapolis. It was so much fun. I was way younger before. We also learned that one of the participants attended her first Mariapolis. Guess what year? 1966. Wow! Way, way, way back. In the afternoon session, we talked about the art of loving and how this was put into life through the stories that were shared to us. It can be lived not only by adults, but by children as well. It emphasized on 6 points to help us remember them easily. These are: love all, be the first to love one another, make yourself one with the other, love Jesus in the other. And lastly, which is the most challenging for me personally, but I know it's possible to live it because of the experiences that were shared yesterday, is to love the enemy.
We want to invite Nar and Andrew, the present zonal delegates of the Popular Movement here in the Philippines.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Andrew, and I come from a very small island very close to Italy. Its name is Malta. Thank you.
And I am Nar, a Filipina, and I come from Carmen, Bohol. So I am Bisaya. Mayong buntag sa inyong tanan. So with Andrew, we work together. So the Popular Movement aims at contributing towards the realization of a united world. For many, this may seem a far-off dream. How could this be possible in the world of today, where the ongoing pandemic has exposed a growing social inequality, political and religious intolerance, and other evils generated by the lack of love and mutual understanding among people? We thank God that these are not the only characteristics of our times. There is a profound reason for believing that unity is possible. In the beginning, all the universe was created as one, out of love and in harmony. However, human beings' selfish motives shattered this unity and harmony and brought on the tragedy of suffering and division. Division of humanity from God and division of humanity within itself. We know, however, that God, who is love, never abandoned humankind to its destiny. And for the restoration of all, God intervened in history. And in fact, we can see that the world now is moving more and more towards unity.
God has a plan for our planet and the entire universe, and all human beings are candidates for unity. People of different walks of life, the faithful of various churches and religions, and people of goodwill are called to be builders of unity and to collaborate to God's plan. As members of the Focolare, we have asked ourselves, how can we be more faithful to our charism of unity and therefore contribute to a united world? Guided by this question, at the beginning of this year, 2021, our General Assembly with 362 participants representing different cultures, generations, vocations, church membership, and religious faiths was held online for 15 days. As the meeting went on, the direction God wants us to take became clearer and clearer. At all levels, it demands conversion, concreteness, and renewed commitment of living our way of life. And we came up with three fundamental cares. The first one is care for humanity. The second one is care for the earth. And the third one is care for the new generations.
Andrew, we know that we heard that from among our participants and viewers, we have three questions that they want to ask. So we may tackle one question at a time.
Yeah.
We could start with care for humanity, then care for the earth, and then care for the young generations, if it is okay for you.
Good morning, Nar and Andrew. Greetings from everyone here in Dumaguete. I am Julio, one of the youth of the Focolare movement in this city. And I have a question for you both. Since we are all aware of the current sufferings of humanity all around us, moreover, because of this pandemic, which has brought us great and new types of challenges, what are the movement's efforts to address these challenges? That was all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Julio, for this very important question. You know that the ongoing pandemic has exposed the contradictions of a world which may seem strongly connected by social media, but is in fact unity and balance. Now we want to care for humanity in all those who suffer, in all those who are marginalized, and seek their dignity. In some regions, the most precious problem is linked to migration issues, to violence, to political or religious intolerance, to various forms of discrimination, and even social indifference.
What do we want to do? There can be so many things that we could do. Well, the first thing that we would like to do is we want to reach out and be near to those who are suffering and feel excluded. We want also, on a personal and on a community level, we want to identify and offer concrete help to those suffering around us, starting from our own homes or school and moving towards the society at large, with the aim of arriving at mutual love and care. We want also to relaunch the worldwide culture of giving. What does it mean? It means to give our goods, talents, time, smiles, advice, all for the common good. Let us now head over to visit our communities in Tacloban, Bacolod, and Dumaguete, where they will share with us about their concrete initiatives in response to this cry of humanity. How can we care for humanity? They will show us.
Good day, everyone. My name is Nid Shorda, and today I'll be sharing with you an experience on how we, the Gen, lived out the spirit of community. One night, I was scrolling down through social media when I came across some posts of people setting up community pantries in their localities. Right there and then, I thought to myself, what if the Gen set up their own? I immediately chatted the Gen, guys, let's have our own community pantry here in Leyte. When they read my message, they immediately agreed to the idea. Turns out, they've actually been thinking about the same thing too. That night, we started making plans for the pantry. Since we knew that our way of life called for living for unity, we incorporated it as a goal of our project. We'd contact the barangay, the SK, the chapel, the youth, all we could partner with. We reach out to them, build bridges, make one, and generate the spirit of community. Later that week, we met with the barangay. They told us they would provide us with chairs, tables, a tent, and a bullhorn. We also met with the chapel youth, and they agreed to volunteer in the distribution. Everything was finally set. The day of our pantry came. A whole crowd of people showed up, but the barangay and chapel volunteers immediately came to our assistance. Then one by one, people started approaching our table. Some shared stories with us, how the pantry helped them put food on their tables, how because of it they could finally have some rice for dinner, how the pantry eased their burdens at least for the time being. Listening and connecting with them was indeed a wholesome experience. But what touched us the most were those people who, even though they were in need, didn't hesitate to give even the little that they had. A local farmer came and shared some fresh produce. Others left coins in our table as donations. We felt the spirit of community, even among those in need. But people didn't only offer goods for the pantry. At one point, the crowd was getting rowdy and the pandemic protocols were starting to be ignored. Then a woman approached us and said, "I can help with crowd control," and immediately started helping out. The community pantry of the Gen woke up the spirit of community within the barangay. People of various ages and backgrounds came and gave what they could for the good of the others, the essence of bayanihan. Of course, none of this could have happened without the hand of God guiding us. Throughout the duration of the project, we felt His love and grace pouring out liberally for His children in need. He will never leave His people. So basically, that is the experience of the Gen of Tacloban on how we lived out the spirit of community. Thank you so much for listening, and may you have a good day ahead.
January of 2021, an unexpected flood surprised the people in the northern part of Negros Occidental. There was no typhoon, but they said the heavy rain and the high tide triggered the flash floods that affected thousands of people. It was devastating that they have to face another calamity in the midst of the pandemic. That night, victims started to post pictures on Facebook asking for rescue and help. It was then that our group chat, Focolare Community of Bacolod, became busy thinking of how we can respond and help to these victims. In our conversations, we suggested to check on people and their needs. We also decided to put together our resources to give them at once and immediately. Due to pandemic protocol and restrictions, our mobility was very limited. We are confident, though, that our initiative is from God and He will send us ways to make our plans possible. With the little time that we have, we were able to gather some amount for the rice and groceries to give to people in Silay City the following day.
But we felt deep in our hearts that it was not enough. We can do more for our brothers. Many families were still stranded in evacuation centers. Some lost everything. All their clothes, blankets, etc. were all wet and the rain continued to pour. This is when the idea of having the blanket and towel drive came about. We called it Habol Kag Tuwalya Project. The diocese also supported us by posting our initiative in ADSUM, their official Facebook page. Strengthened with love and our unity as Focolare family, and with the inspiration from a message from our bishop, we are gifted to give. The project took off. Donations from our families, relatives, friends, and even from strangers started to arrive.
When we started the campaign, I tried to solicit monetary help for the flood victims and also towels, blankets, and clothes from my families and friends without expectation. But there were a lot of responses and I was overwhelmed with the providence that came. I also encouraged my children to share, and even our house helper donated some of her clothes, and they also helped in the segregation of the donated items before packing them. Truly, love can be contagious. I was also tasked to gather the various donations from around Bacolod and to drive up north to bring the goods together with some members of the community. It was raining hard at the time and the fear of COVID was something to be worried about. But seeing the happy faces of the people there overcame my fears. In the end, I was so glad that I said yes to Jesus to have this experience of loving Him and the others concretely. It gave me so much joy.
As a youth from the Immaculate Conception Parish in Morsha, we are grateful to become part of this experience to help our brothers and sisters who are affected by flood. Through this, we're able to share our pre-loved clothes and extra towels to the needy. We are also tasked to send it straight to the Social Action Center of the Diocese of San Carlos. Even though we do not have much to share, but we are rich in love to look after one another. We are happy that we have shared the warmth of love that we are living as one Focolare family.
Our humble plan was to give only to few families from Talisay and Silay. But because of the overflowing blessings and providence that we have received, we were able to extend assistance to those in Cadiz and San Carlos. This experience of being one with our brothers, especially in this difficult moment, is extraordinary. We thank Jesus for accompanying us in responding to the call to love humanity. Indeed, God can never be outdone in His generosity. Thank you.
Sinag Negros Oriental Provincial Hospital Chapter started in 1993. Sinag is a Tagalog word which means a ray of light and hope, and together with 10 other chapters all over the Philippines, composed of volunteers from different sectors of society, we found courage in the words of Jesus in the Gospel, "Whatever you do to the least of your brethren, you do to me." What do? We seek out those who are most in need and understand together how each one can be helped and loved concretely. Sinag volunteers in each hospital render pastoral care, visit patients to listen, comfort, encourage them and their families, assist in networking and referral process with the social works department of the hospital, and collaborate with other government offices and private individuals who are willing to help. Extend assistance in cash or in kind to indigent patients for their medicines, medical surgical supplies, payment for diagnostic and therapeutic services, for food, clothing, as well as transportation. With the health threat of the pandemic, we ask, how can we continue helping others when this will put us also at risk? Thanks to technology, we have creative ways to still be connected with the social works department, hospital staff, and our own volunteers through chat groups. Thus, we can still work together. Surprisingly, even in the midst of the pandemic, our SINAG donors are overflowing. And as the saying goes, God isn't worried if the cup is empty or half full. He wonders which needy person we will give it to. In this pandemic period, we took care in a special way the needs of COVID patients and quarantined frontliners, and provided PPEs and a tent for the emergency and triage nurses. The pandemic also strengthened our relationship with the neonatal intensive care unit, where newborns with infections survived with the medical help we were able to extend. We sought out help for newborn clothes and received cash donations, which were used to complete 70 newborn starter kits. Our very recent patient is baby Tristan, born in NOPH with a cleft lip and palate. Since the parents are very young and poor, SINAG embraced their difficulty as our own. As per advice by a dentist who endorsed them for a free surgery with a foundation that works closely with Philippine General Hospital, a cleft palate obturator was attached in preparation. We bought him a specialized cleft palate bottle and provided living allowance for their Manila stay. There were some problems along the way that discouraged the parents as surgery was postponed. But with the intervention of SINAG PGH, Tristan's life-saving surgery came through. We are happy that even in the midst of our own problems and trials, we were able to love them to the end. A volunteer of SINAG PGH says, "We are His witnesses, a tangible presence of God's love for them." And so we thank God for these divine moments in which He calls us to live the Christian love, to love the soul nearest to us, and to collaborate with others in loving humanity.
Good morning. I am Noreen.
Good morning. I am Piero. Thank you very much, Nar and Andrew. I got a better understanding of the sufferings of humanity. And wow, those were great initiatives in caring for humanity.
From these experiences, there was one common denominator: to build authentic relationships with the people we meet, to bring the spirit of family where we all are brothers and sisters, the spirit of unity. Then, as a family, it is logical to care for the needs of each other. Unity of the human family, as Jesus prayed, may they all be one. This is the real gift we want to offer to the suffering humanity today.
Now, let's get to action. At this point, we have prepared a poll to help us concretize our share in caring for humanity. In this poll, you can choose and click 3 priority things that you can do now, today. It might be something small, but it's important that we do something. And if you manage to put this into action, take a picture of yourself and post it on Facebook so others will know and follow you. Follow us in our little examples. Okay, let's start the ball rolling.
We'll flash a poll on your screens of 10 concrete acts you can start right now as your response to the cry of humanity. You can choose 3 acts and tick the box next to your choices. Once done, click on Submit to send in your answers. For those joining us via YouTube, we would also love to hear about your commitments through the YouTube live chat. Please take note as we go through each of the choices in the poll and write only the letters of your top 3 answers. Okay? So now, let's open the poll. Care for humanity. What I can do now. A, I will take time to call someone who is alone, in difficulty, or sick. B, I will give away the clothes, shoes, and things which I haven't used in the past 6 months. C, I will contribute to or initiate a community pantry. D, I will share a post on how we can help disaster or calamity victims. E, I will spread good vibes and refrain from sharing negative or fake news.
A and F, I will listen to my conscience and vote wisely for candidates who look after the needs of the people rather than their self-interest. G, I will make an effort to form my character and conscience so as to be part of the solution rather than the problem. H, I will make better and more meaningful social connections to collaborate with people who share my values rather than my passions. I will engage in sustainable gardening or farming for both health and economic benefits. And lastly, J, I will support the projects of Kaspalad, Sinag, and Pag-asa and other social action centers.
Okay, Piero, these are good choices, you know. So may we remind everyone to choose your top 3 choices and we'll see what people would answer, you know. Let's see the results. I think you can also see it, you know. Piero, can you also see it? Yeah?
Yeah, I can see it, Maureen.
So we are so glad for these good choices, you know. These we can really do everything. But then we are just limited also. So these are the top 3 choices that everyone answered. 50% voted B. I will choose and things which I haven't used in the past 6 months. Also, they answered letter A. I will take time to call someone who is alone, in difficulty, or sick. And also F. I will listen to my conscience and vote wisely for candidates who look after the needs of the people rather than their self-interest. Wow. Thank you so much.
And now, we want this general invitation, each one, through this song.
Madaliman ng gabi, ang dulot niya yawitin kay tamis, tumutugon sa himig ng ninasang bukang liwayway, namamaalam, papaalala ng umagang may pag-asa. Lusay man ang bulaklak na di na makaagaw pansin, at ang bango niya'y siyang tinuyot ng hangin walang habang. Pag-asa niya't kalwalhatian ay nasa kamatayan. Di maiwasan sa bawat lingap may pagdurusa, pinababatid landasing tunay ng ating buhay. Huwag tanggihan, Diyos ay kilalanin mo. Matindi man ang iyong hinagpis, nasa puso'y taimtim tumarain. Yan loob mo'y di mapatugma, oh, loob ay lusay-lusay. Huwag kang mamiting, hayaang umagos
Hello, Nara and Andrew. This is Kim. I have a question for you on caring for our Earth as our common home, as Pope Francis puts it. Since this pandemic highlighted how we are all connected, we see again that the poorest among us suffer the most of this cry of this earth. Can you share with us what we can do in our own communities to heed this cry?
Dagang salamat kay Kim for this question. You know, the care for the earth is really super important. Why? Because it affects all of us. And if we neglect it, the poorest and the most disadvantaged suffer the greatest consequences. Yes, we too feel that there is an urgent need for a conversion towards integral ecology. As Pope Francis explains, that integral ecology challenges all people, all of us, to broaden our focus of concern and our daily behavior. And this includes, first, protection of all human life. Second, concrete acts of solidarity with the poor. Third, ethical conduct in economic affairs. Provide more contact with nature. And protection of people's cultural heritage.
Yes. Now, as Focolare, what do we plan to do in this direction, not to care for the earth? Well, first of all, we want to review our lifestyle, personal and community, towards zero impact on our nature, on earth. The second would be to develop a critical consciousness regarding the use of material goods. A third point could be creative and generating new practices like gardening, producing compost, and others. Denounce the causes that threaten the planet. And another point could be make good use of the digital world, avoiding fake news and gossip in order to bring out the positive and give hope. Remember, Pope Francis speaks of integral ecology. So it's not only the earth, but also our relationships that live on earth. To realize all this, we want to work in living networks, to build relationships of trust. We want to collaborate with anyone engaged in the same goals and thus give a more competent, concrete, and complete attention to the problems. Now let us go to visit Manila, Bohol, Tacloban, and Dumaguete. Our communities are immersed in the Estero project, cleanup drives, and sustainable ecology. Let's watch as they share with us what they have been involved in. Thank you.
Perlas ng silanganan ang tawag sa Pilipinas. Sa likas na yaman na mayroon ng ating bansa, naitanong namin paano tayo umabot sa puntong ito. Nang sumali kami sa Global Summer School noong 2018 at 2019, naitanong namin ano ba ang papel na maaring gampanan ng arkitektura at disenyo sa pangangalaga ng ating kapaligiran. Naunawaan namin na maaaring malaki ang kinalaman ng kasaysayan natin dito. Mahigit sa 300 taon na napasailalim ang Pilipinas sa bansang Espanya. Si Felipe Ikalawa ang hari ng panahong iyon. At noong 1573, itinatag niya ang Law of the Indies. Ito ay ang batas na gumagabay sa mga kolonistang Espanyol sa kung paano lumikha at magpalawak ng mga bayan sa mga teritoryo ng Espanya, sa Amerika at sa Pilipinas. Ayon sa batas na ito, ang mga struktura ay nakaharap sa Plaza Mayor kung nasaan din ang simbahan, ang munisipyo at lahat ng mga mayayaman ay mas malapit sa Plaza Mayor. Maaaring pagkatapos ng maraming taon ay nakasanayan natin na kung ano ang maganda ay nasa harap at kung ano ang madumi at basura ay nasa likod. Sa paglago ng populasyon ng Pilipinas, makikita natin na noong 1903, ito ay 7.6 million habang ang Maynila naman ay 219,928. Noong 2020, ito ay lumobo at sa Pilipinas mayroon ng 108.31 million at sa Maynila naman ay 13.9 million. Ang problemang naging bunga nito ay tinatawag na hyperdensity, kung saan maliit ang espasyo para sa bawat taong nakatira sa isang lugar. At ang malaking epekto nito ay ang pagkasira ng ating kapaligiran. Noong 1907, naimbento ang plastic at hindi ito nakatulong sa ating sitwasyon. Dati-rati, ang tinatapon natin ay nabubulok. Ngunit ang plastic, pag itinapon natin ito at nakarating ito sa tubig, hindi siya nabubulok. At dahil dito, ay nalikha natin ang buhay na patapon, a throwaway life kung saan puro disposables na ang ginagamit natin, bagay na hindi tama. Ang storyang ito ay totoo sa buong mundo, ngunit sa Pilipinas, ito din ang itsura natin. Ito ang School of Design and Arts ng De La Salle College of St. Benilde kung saan namin ginawa ang Global Summer School noong 2018 at 2019. Ito naman ang estero sa tabi namin. Ang estero Tripa de Galina ay isang sanga ng Ilog Pasig na 4.34 kilometro ang haba. Tumatakbo ito sa mga lungsod ng Pasay at Parañaque at tumatanggap sa maruming tubig at solidong basura ng mga residente ng Pasay, Parañaque, Makati at Manila. Makikita nyo na hindi maayos ang pamamahala ng basura at may mga squatter sa paligid nito. Ito rin ang imburnal kung saan dumadaloy ang marumi, tubig at solidong basura. Isang bagay na aming naobserbahan ay kung paano natutunan natin sa kasaysayan kung ano ang nasa harap, ito ay nililinis at ang nasa likod ay hindi. Kaya sa paghahanay ng mga bahay, kapag ang estero ay nasa harap nila, ito ay kaya nilang linisin at kung ito ay nasa likod, ay pinapabayaan ito. Noong 2018, ang aming naging solusyon ay ang paglalagay ng lambat at ng mga poles na kinabitan din namin ng sensor. Pag nagtatapon ng mga tao ng basura, tataas ang poles at babalik sa kanila ang basura. Kung ano ang tirapon mo sa estero, ay babalik ito sa iyo. Ito ang aming mensahe. Bagamat konsepto lamang ang naisip namin, naibigan ito ng mga barangay at naisipan nila na magandang ituloy ito sa susunod na taon. Nagsimula kami sa 12 taga-Benilde na mga estudyante. Taong 2019 ay nag-anyaya pa kami sa iba't ibang mga eskwela at 23 mga kabataan ang tumugon. Aming pinag-aralan at pinag-isipan bakit kaya hindi natin gawa ng extension ang footbridges para mayroong public spaces o espasyong pampubliko ang mga tao. Naisip namin na ang bamboo pavilion ay mas makatotohanan ng solusyon kaysa sa mga lambat. Habang dinadala namin ito sa lugar, ang pakiramdam ay parang modern day bayanihan. Kahit hindi namin banggitin ito, ito ay nararamdaman ng lahat. Ito yung gusto namin gawin pag natapos. Pero paano namin ito matutuloy-tuloy? Kaya nagbuo kami ng isang urban collab upang kahit magtapos ang mga bata at gumraduate na ay pwedeng ituloy ng ibang eskwela. Ito kami, kasama ng pamayanan, hinaharap ang buhay na may pag-asa. Kapag sama-sama, kaya.
The pandemic can't stop us. And in other parts of the Visayas, we also engaged in some community efforts to do our part in caring for the environment. The beach cleanup drive was an ongoing project for some of us, but the pandemic has put limits to this initiative at this time. In Bohol, for example, the young people armed with tongs, gloves, and empty sacks did some cleanup in a beachfront of one of the island's resorts and were able to gather used masks, gloves, and syringes, among other things. In the same manner, with the Dumaguete community's beach cleanup, We were able to get rubber strips of used tires, pieces of nylon ropes, and rubber sleepers, all very detrimental for the ocean. Tacloban too has its share of gathering residues of harmful materials to the detriment of the ocean's inhabitants. Truly, caring for the environment is an urgent call that we need to answer in order to save the Earth from a global environmental deterioration. For future generations to live in peace, in our common home, and in harmony with God's creation. We need to act now, and with commitment as Pope Francis has urged us, and to unite our efforts towards a collaborative engagement to save humanity. This is our contribution to save our home. What's yours?
Ciao everyone, we are Gary
and Cheryl Rosales.
Greetings from Dumaguete City, Philippines. We are all called to be stewards. This realization, brought out by our faith and reinforced by our studies, has been the reason why we have been so passionate in the environmental advocacy.
For us, stewardship is finding the balance between protecting and developing Earth's resources. It entails proper management of the resources entrusted to us.
Since the start of our marriage, we have committed ourselves to live simply. We live together with Cheryl's parents instead of building our own house. Our first car was acquired only when our growing family can no longer be accommodated in Cheryl's father's vehicle. When something gets broken, our first option is always to repair it rather than to buy a replacement.
We believe that the shorter the food travels, the better it is for the environment. We grow some vegetables and herbs in the garden. Those we cannot, we buy them from the local farmers. Most of our fish are sourced from our neighbors who are fishermen. We prefer to support the local economy.
Naturally, planting is one of our hobbies. Aside from herbs and vegetables, we grow ornamental plants as well as plant trees in our property and nearby public spaces.
3 years ago, we were introduced to the concept of zero waste. It affirms some of the practices we have been doing, but more importantly, introduces new practices in the family. When going to the market or department stores, we bring reusable containers and politely refuse plastic or paper bags automatically offered by the establishment. We preferred products packaged in recyclable or reusable containers. Our food waste are fed to the cats or are composted. The residual plastic waste are being stuffed in bottles which we encase in cement. The finished products are used as spot waste in our garden. We also have a rainwater catchment system as well as solar panels installed so as to capture the abundant supply of rain and sunlight in our place.
Whatever environmental practices we observe in our home, we realize is not enough. We need to go beyond and influence others.
Recently, Dumaguete came into national attention because of a reclamation project already being awarded without prior public consultation. The project is so massive that it will destroy the productive and rich marine ecosystem of Dumaguete and its neighboring municipalities. Experts from various fields within and beyond Dumaguete express oppositions on legal, moral, scientific, socio-cultural, and economic grounds and on concern on national security through their statements as well as activities such as fluvial parade, virtual fora, penitential walk, and weekly silent protests.
Issues such as this divides the community, but at the same time, it is an opportunity to learn and dialogue. As members of the coordinating group of the campaign, we see to it that the coalition statements, banners, and posts are truthful and stick to the issue. We always open ourselves to respectful dialogues with the opposing camp. By doing so, We had meaningful and honest discussions with several of the leaders of the other camp. While we were not able to persuade them to switch side, at least we remain as friends and have kept communication lines open.
The process alone that this project went through violated several laws. Some in our group would like to start filing cases in court, but the majority of us have prevailed to delay such action out of compassion for those who we know are innocent.
Keeping our campaign clean, presenting verifiable information, conducting peaceful gathering, as well as being available for meaningful discussions are what attract the community towards our side. While at the start, there were only a few of us, in less than a month, numerous families and organizations initiated their own activities to amplify the resistance.
In closing, let us be reminded of what Pope Francis wrote in Laudato Si. Living our vocation to be protectors of God's handiwork is essential to a life of virtue. It is not an optional or secondary aspect of our Christian experience.
Let us then strive to leave a better world for those who will come after us, through small and bigger ways.
Nor, I think we need to review our lifestyle and be creative in generating new practices for the care of the nation, starting from our doorstep and extending to the outside world, right?
Yeah, I agree. But, pero, we need to act together, to network with other organizations with the same goal, so we can make a bigger impact. Remember, time is running fast. So, let's take another poll now. From among these 10, click 3 on what you want to do now, today.
Okay, again, for those who are joining via YouTube, again, you can send us your comments through the YouTube live chat. Write only the letters of the top 3 choices that you made. Now, let's open the poll. So these are the choices for the care for the earth. What can we do now? A, I will lessen buying sachet products. B, I will choose reusable bags over single-use plastics. C, I will unplug all appliances that are not in use. D, I will choose LED lights over incandescent bulbs and fluorescent tubes. E, I will use my own tumbler water bottle over one-time single-use plastic bags.
Nice one. F, I will recycle water used to wash rice in watering the plants. G, I will collect and use rainwater for our household needs. H, I will adopt segregating waste as a lifestyle. I, if possible, I will walk, ride a bike, or take public transportation to work or school and to do errands. Lastly, J, I will participate in tree planting and coastal or community cleanup initiatives. Okay.
Again, those who are using YouTube or watching us through YouTube, please do participate. Okay? And now, it's time to close the poll. So thank you very much, guys, our Mariapolites, for actively participating. So let us now check the poll for today, Noreen. No? A while ago, everyone was really participative. And we will now read the top 3, let's say, choices. But right now, I'm just waiting for the so-called results. So what are your top 3, Noreen?
My top 3. Okay.
I ask you.
In my daily living, I'm already using my tumbler, so I think I really agree with that. And you, Pero? Give me one.
Siguro, I will just mention my top 1. I'm really biased, no? So, okay, so we already have the result, Noreen. So I will now read. So top 1 is B. I will choose reusable bags over single-use plastics. In
Nice
Indonesia. I really
one.
like this one. Nice one. No? So, and then top 3 is E. I will use my own tumbler. What? Yeah. Very nice.
See? I told
That's
you.
good. That's good. And then last, no, the top 3 is I will unplug appliances that are not in use. Very good idea. Okay, so these are really, thank you guys, no, for the top 3 choices that you made. So as we end this segment, let us listen to this song entitled Laudato Si.
Wow, Nor. I learned so much in a short time just by listening and participating in our program. It was really fun, and I think everybody enjoyed doing the pool, right? It was simple, concrete, and practical at the same time. And I really look forward in applying these different ways that I can help the environment. Definitely, I will start at home.
Roy, this is how I reacted. If you allow me, I would like to say it in Cebuano because it means so much to me. Gikumot aking kasing-kasing. And the closest English translation to this is it broke my heart seeing the different pains and suffering that we encounter today. But you know what? Even if everything looks dark and difficult because the damage has been done to the environment, and it's a reality that there are really people who are going through tough times, there is hope at the end of the tunnel. And this hope is brought about by the brave individuals, which I give my salute, who in one way or another did something, responded in their personal capacity or as a group. And I really realized at this moment, no, na we can do all things together and that this creates a synergy. And one drop can create a ripple. So now, I think we have been sitting for a long time. Let's take a 5 minute break to stretch, drink a glass of water, or go to the toilet. Or you can also remain seated and participate in the next exercise that we will ask you to join. But before that, please turn on your videos. It's very important that you turn on the video for this segment. Roy?
So now we will play a song as our cue that the 5 minute break is over. And then we settle down for the next segment. Thank you.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Come on, like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't be control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Come on, like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Fingers creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. Everybody say.
Tempted by the easier way, 'cause we don't want to suffer if we fail. Although the road we choose it might be tough, we already know that easy's not enough. To live our convictions, we have to work it out. Our community is where the strength is found. This is our decision. We don't want to build walls. Let love open our hearts and welcome all to go beyond the borders. We've to free ourselves from fear and all the limits we might set ourselves. To go beyond the borders is a goal we can reach. The goodness in each other is all we need to see. We go beyond the borders.
Our love and doing this will make us who we are. Accept us as we are, with any fears and doubts. Then we remove our masks and we reach out.
To live our convictions, we have to work it out. Our community is where the strength is found. This is our decision. Don't want to build walls. Let love open our hearts and welcome all to go beyond the borders. We've to free ourselves from fear and all the limits we might set ourselves. To go beyond the borders is a goal we can reach. The goodness in each other is all we need to see. We go beyond the borders. We go beyond. 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 We all go beyond your borders. We've to free ourselves from fear and all the limits we might set ourselves. Because beyond your borders is a goal we can reach. Goodness in each other is all we need to see. We go beyond your borders. We go beyond your borders. We go beyond your borders. We go beyond your borders.
and Andrew. Mayong buntag. How are you? Well, on behalf of all the young people present here today, I would like to ask you this question. Now, we, the young people, children and teens, we are seen as the most vulnerable part of the population. Now, with the pandemic, most of us suffer as we are deprived of social, physical interaction, and we are challenged to cope with our family situations and the overwhelming demands of school. At times, our sufferings are drowned in silence or in seeming indifference. What help can we ask from the older generations, and how can we help ourselves and our fellow youth?
Thank you, Mercy, for this very important question. You're asking us what help you can ask from the older generations, and how can you help yourselves and your fellow youth. You know, young people, teens, and children are challenging us as they build the world with their dreams, their incisive questions, and their voices raised against injustice and unsustainability. We believe that it is by being together across generations in the movement that we can understand how to care for one another. Therefore, in this vision of being together, of working together, the adults welcome the prophetic vision of the younger generations, while in turn, the young people or the youth appreciate the experience and wisdom that the adults can offer.
So, what do we want to do together, as Nar was saying? Well, first of all, across generations, we want to prioritize working together, each one at the service of the others, capable of building a new and more united world. A second point would be, with the great desire to overcome indifference and silence, as the girl was saying, we try to be more open to a sincere and true dialogue, and to be inclusive like a family. And to realize all this, we need a holistic formation involving our head, our hearts, and our hands to train ourselves to acquire this way of life. Let's now watch Care for the Younger Generations in action from the beautiful experiences that came to us from the young people of Tacloban, Cebu, and by the Youth for United World, Manila and Bukas Palat, Cebu. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Gio from Manila, and with me is Ate Lela, also from Manila. A few nights ago, news came out that a typhoon was about to hit the Philippines. But it was something not to be worried about since it is not projected to pose a grave threat, except that there may be just a gloomy day. Hearing this, I didn't think twice about it and went on my usual routine. The following morning, I started to see posts on social media and hear breaking news reports describing the situation on the northern part of Luzon. It was worrisome. Houses were drowned by overnight floods. Some families lost loved ones due to landslides while they were asleep in the middle of the night. It was nothing to be set aside. I started checking on some friends who live on those areas to know how they were doing. They were relatively safe, but they also echoed the situation surrounding them. Families weeping as they seek for shelter and witness the loss of their crops. We're a bit distant physically, but we feel very close to them in our hearts. We could hear their cries echoing, and hearing these cries came the urge to help, to do something. But what? Young as we are, we do not have many resources, but we wanted to help. We must do something. So, we went to the adults and told them that what we have seen in the news and heard from our friends. They began to check on areas we were not able to reach yet. Among us, young people, we had already thought of some concrete ways we could help, but stopped short of launching it immediately. As we noticed the adults sharing the same sentiments, we saw it as an opportunity to work together.
Hi, I'm Lola De Jesus. So together with Gio, we exchanged messages and calls to get a clearer picture of the needs in La Union, Benguet, Pangasinan, Cagayan, Lawag, and Palawan. This was still while the typhoon was ravaging their lands. We came up with a call for donations so we could help purchase their basic needs. This was the original plan, but we found out that someone was bound to go to La Union that weekend. So we grabbed the chance to pull together pre-loved clothes for 100 families in one barangay. The call for donations had a positive feedback as the days went by. We heard of many stories of adults bringing together what they could contribute. We coordinated with youth and adults in their respective areas for the implementation. One area was in need of water supply, the other needed plates and utensils. They went to these areas even if they were far, so they could deliver the supplies to those in need. We were worried that we could not respond to the needs of these identified areas, but we are first-hand witnesses that truly God provides, and we are able to answer all the requests that came in.
Hello everyone, I am Angie, social worker in Bukas Palad Cebu Foundation. The prolonged period of distance learning and the lack of adequate and sufficient support from teachers has increased the already existing difference between the most capable students and those less talented for study. In general, all have registered a drop in grades average, and for some, this has caused a decrease in self-esteem, a sense of inability, discouragement, and a desire to quit. We launched the initiative Ate and Kuya, No One is Left Behind, inviting high school and college students with good grades to take care of another student in difficulty. This peer tutoring is considered as community service. 40 students agreed with the proposal and were appointed as tutors for students of the lower years. Paired according to geographical proximity, they took up the challenge.
Good day, everyone. We are part of the support at a distance program of Bukas Palad Cebu Foundation. I am Angel.
I am Shanna.
I'm Aubrey. And since face-to-face classes are still prohibited, distance learning was implemented. Students are having a hard time studying on their own and answering their modules, which result to low grades and late activities.
In our program, we were invited to do an activity which we call Ate and Kuya Project, which aims to extend a helping hand to our Bukas Palad beneficiaries and other students who needed help in answering and understanding their modules. Its main goal is that no one should be left behind.
We have given schedules to each student assigned to us on when we will meet. But then other students won't show up on the assigned day. We are having a hard time dealing with some students because they tend to divert their attention to other things. However, we always remind ourselves that they are trying to adapt to our new normal setup.
Even if some students are showing no interest in learning, we still encourage them to answer their modules and strive hard just to make them understand. It was honestly a tiring experience for us, but the moment we realized that they really needed our help, we got motivated to do the task.
We are so lucky to be part of this program because we didn't just help other students but also ourselves. We get to know ourselves better and the capabilities we have while on the process of teaching them.
We are genuinely happy while helping our Bukas Palad students in answering their modules because we know they've learned something from us. It also gives us satisfaction knowing that the children we taught finished their modules and passed their previous grade level. We may have encountered our own difficulties in our modules, but helping other students learn makes our heart even more blissful. Thank you.
Long before the pandemic, some of our youth and children have already been isolated from the rest of the world. They include those at risk and in conflict with the law. In the Philippines, because of very limited funds and resources, we can find them all together in youth homes and other similar institutions run by the local governments. The Social Development Center for Children in Tagpuro houses 20 male street children and 30 minors of varying ages who are in conflict with the law on cases like theft. Our Tacloban community, in collaboration with one of its members, Father Dave, whose parish also covers Tagpuro, tried to see how it could concretely help the boys and the center. Last year, a feeding program was held every Sunday. With Father Dave, who also celebrated the Sunday Masses, the community took advantage of every opportunity to be with the boys and to build a more personal rapport with them. During their birthdays, the community members prefer to celebrate with the boys. They sponsor the food, as well as sing, dance, and play with them. One of them has also inspired her colleagues in the city prosecutor's office to collaborate and donate. Many of the fiscals, judges, and even ordinary employees gave their contributions for the boys' food, medicines, clothing, educational materials, and even toys. Due to the restrictions of the pandemic, the feeding program was temporarily suspended. However, the community channeled the help for bigger concerns, like the center's dilapidated building. With the support of some fiscals and judges, they were able to coordinate with the concerned government office so that due attention and immediate action be given to the center. Truly, every encounter with the children makes a lot of difference, not only in their lives, but in ours as well. From the far-flung barangay of Tagpuro, Tacloban, let us move to another mountain barangay in Maghahay, Cebu, where we can find the Talisay City Youth Home. It also accommodates boys who are in conflict with the law, along with those who are at risk, abandoned, abused, homeless, and orphaned. In 2019, some members of the Focolare movement in Cebu accepted the invitation to give weekly values formation and catechism sessions in this youth facility. Going there every Tuesday was an occasion for the volunteers to both live and share the gospel and the art of loving. Little by little, the boys also began living and loving. They also started sharing their experiences, talents, and dreams. Learning to look at themselves through the eyes of God, who is love, and acknowledging their strengths and giftedness, the boys transformed from being passive recipients to becoming active partners in achieving shared goals. Their 2019 Christmas celebration was a very concrete example. As they were busy preparing for the Christmas story, carols, and costumes, they were also decorating the center with their acts of love. They wrote, "I am grateful and happy that there is no more fighting in the center. I gave Raymart some bread and juice, and I also played with him. I have changed a lot because I have finally learned to help and forgive others." With the help of generous friends within and outside the Focolare, the boys received their immediate need for hygiene kits. They also had gifts like clothes, shoes, and bags just in time for Christmas. During the Christmas celebration, the boys were ready and eager to welcome other members and friends of the Focolare in Cebu, who concretely helped and contributed to Jesus in the midst. To be a family, which the boys really need. During the pandemic, outsiders were not allowed at the youth home. One of us donated her laptop so virtual meetings could take place. Even if the virtual meetings became very challenging and at present impossible, the volunteers continued to be creative and resourceful to sustain the activities and rapport with the boys and the staff. In one of the sessions on faith, the boys were asked, "Where can we find God?" They answered, "In nature, in God's words, in the church, and in our neighbors." To the facilitator's great joy and surprise, someone added, "Among us, Jesus is here today because we love one another." Indeed, being immersed in an atmosphere of love in a family is a very powerful tool in both personal and social transformation. As we celebrate the boys' purposeful progress, restored relationships, and small and big successes, let us also pray that the initiatives in the Social Development Center for Children in Tagpuro and the Talisay City Youth Home will continue and contribute to equip and prepare the boys well to reintegrate into the community and lead more meaningful lives rooted in faith, hope, and love.
Thank you very much, Nar and Andrew. Your answer, as well as the experiences, made me realize that indeed, the youth, our children and teens, are not only the future, they are and must be very much part of our present.
Piero, I completely agree to that. They have to be our priority. We make time for them not only because they learn a lot from us, but also because we learn a lot from them too. Their youthful energy and enthusiasm alone can help us get through the most challenging of times.
I can see that many of us here are young and young at heart. If we unite our efforts to answer the cry of the youth, we can do a lot of great things together.
Young people are curious, but they're also very concrete. I'm very excited to know what we can all do for and with them. We'll flash another poll on your screens, so check out what you can do now. For those connected via YouTube, don't forget to send us your commitments through the YouTube chat. Now, let's open the poll. Piero, the cry of the new generation, what we can do now. A, I will make time to play, dance, and sing with young people. B, I will be a friend to everyone, both in his or her joys and difficulties. C, I will share talents, wisdom, and values to the young people. D, I will take interest and support in young people's activities, hobbies, and dreams. E, I will be more sensitive to the needs of the young people. First of all, by listening to them.
Yeah. F, I will give the young ones the chance to speak and lead. G, when the young ones have questions, I will give clear and competent answers. H, I will model positive coping and mental health habits. I will encourage a young person to stand firm against bullying and peer pressure. Last but not the least, J, I will avoid stereotypes and engage in a healthy dialogue with the youth.
Wow. I'm excited to know.
Yeah,
because we're also young.
Yeah.
We're new generations too, you know? It's now time to close the poll. 3, 2, 1. So, our top results are, let's see. I have here letter E. I will be more sensitive to the needs of the young ones, first of all, by listening to them. Very challenging, you know, because we all want to talk.
Right, Maureen.
right? Okay. We have also here letter B. I will be a friend to everyone, both in his or her joys and difficulties, which is really challenging, you know. Do you agree, Piero?
Yeah, it's very challenging, no? Especially that we also have our own difficulties, but this is really a thing that we need to do, to heed. No?
Yes. And lastly, we have here letter C. I will share my talents, wisdom, and values to the young people. Thank you, everyone, for joining. For those in the YouTube live chat, thank you so much.
Wow, there's really so much we can share with the youth, Maureen.
Mhm.
Food, fun, friendship, family, faith, a whole future.
I hope our personal and shared commitments give them the courage to overcome any fear with a newfound freedom to build anything, their character, relationships, and dreams. Now, we have a youth of Antique, Dandan, who'd like to share this great guitar solo with us.
Thank you, Den. It's so nice to hear this music. I also, together with Nar, I also wish to say a very big thank you for the questions being asked by Julio, by Kim, and also by Mercy, and also for the beautiful experience that were shared. Just to summarize, we just wanted to say that the Focolare as an ecclesial movement, we have selected these three cares. Let's see if we remember them. No? Care for humanity, care for the earth, and care for the new generations. Actually, it's a 5-year project that we have ahead of us. It is something that we are not doing alone. We're just giving a small contribution to the whole world. But most of all, we have God's help on our side in order to put it into practice and work together for these cares. Also, in this way, we would participate to what Jesus has always wanted. So much so, he expressed in his last testament that all may be one. He wanted a united world. So let's take courage. God is on our side. Have a wonderful continuation of the Mariapolis. Thank you.
And so we want to end the program of this morning by giving you another gift, no? With this very short video of Chiara, the founder of the Focolare movement, that speaks of her great and wildest dream. So let's watch it.
I Have a Dream by Chiara Lubick. I dream of a church which can be seen by the world as being more beautiful, more holy, more charismatic, more family. I dream of her being a beacon for humanity. And I dream of seeing in her a holiness of the people never seen before. I dream that the growing awareness of living as one family, which we see today in the consciences of millions of people, will be practiced ever more widely across the globe, so that in the third millennium it will be a general, universal reality. That is why I dream that wars, conflicts, hunger, and the 1,000 other evils in the world will diminish. I dream of an ever more intense dialogue of love among the churches. I dream of a more living and active dialogue among people of the most varied religions, linked to one another by love. I dream that various cultures in the world will mutually enrich each other. I dream of gospel-based relationships, not only among individuals, but also among groups, movements, religious and lay associations, among peoples and among states, so that it becomes logical to love other people's countries as our own, and logical to tend towards a universal communion of goods, at least as a goal to reach. So, I dream of already witnessing new heavens and new earth as far as this is possible here on earth. I am dreaming of many things, but we have a millennium to see them come true.
Salamat Andrew and Nar for today, and thank you so much for sharing Chiara's dream with us. May Chiara's dream be our dream too. Can you believe it, Troy? 2 hours is over. And we have arrived at the end of this morning session. But before we will let you go, please write your impressions and what you are going to do with regards to caring for the earth, humanity, and the young generations in our Padlet link, which will be shared through the chat box, or post it on your Facebook page with the following hashtags. Hashtag care for the earth, hashtag care for humanity, and hashtag care for young generations. And let's encourage others to join us and to share with us this dream.
So we will end this morning with a few important announcements or instructions for this afternoon's sessions. So for those who want to attend Mass, we have one that will be right after this program. And there's another one at 7 p.m. tonight. And you can find the link of the Mass in YouTube, which I think will be posted also after. And having this Mariapolis, we want it to be an open space where everyone can listen and be heard, no? But also interact freely in a family atmosphere typical of a focolare. But during this pandemic, we may not be able to completely open our doors, the doors of our focolares. But with this online Mariapolis, we thought maybe we can open virtual windows to some of our focolare houses. Do you like this idea? So if you do, after the Mass, that's from 11:45 to 12:45, there will be 10 breakout rooms. So you don't have to leave. These are the focolare houses. We have 4 women focolares and 4 men focolares and 2 family focolares. So during this 1 hour, you can enter individually or in groups. You can check below. There's an icon for breakout rooms. You click that icon, and then when it opens, you choose the focolare houses by clicking the little join icon beside the chosen focolare house you want. So you will then enter into these focolare houses where the focolarini and the focolarine are waiting to welcome you. So you can say hi, have a short chat, staying for a short time, or you can also excuse yourself at a certain point. No? And doesn't mean that you have to leave the meeting. Just click the leave room, and then you will be redirected back to the plenary, where you can repeat the same process and enter again and choose another focolare houses. You can repeat the same process so that you can visit as many as you want, no, of all these focolare houses. So imagine they're excited now, also waiting for you, no? So this is our way in this time of new normal that we're having. So after in the afternoon, we also encourage you to come back on time. No, the time is around 2 o'clock for our next program. No, there will be explanations before the start of the program. Okay, and we would like to encourage also those in YouTube, our Mariapolites in YouTube, to please join us. No, log in the Zoom. There's plenty of space where you can all join. No? So we really encourage all those in our YouTube channel, no, joining in the YouTube channel, to please join us in the next activities that we have in the Zoom. So for further instructions and announcements, I will direct you to our technical team, no, to give you some more details of these announcements.
Please come at 2 or a little before 2. Thank you. Buona messa.
Thank you.
Grazie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sangat ikapai mulu magandang diri. Terminal ka na ang tao tungod dini. Katubod sa palibot, way puno sa panikas. Hangin ang inuod, bantugang mga hiyas. Inuod ang tunasok karoon, puno sa problema. Wala di umano, wala'y disiplina. Bahala na kung saan, basta manato lang. Apan mong mahimo, aduna ko'y sumpi ninyong tanan. Labing katawhan ay nanako. Pero nato ning makita sa kadalanan. Di dali mo angan o mamitahan, di pagyod mo yata sa uban. Laing katawhan na rin anak ko. Ang mga tao di hindi mapaugan, ang tanan nalipayon, gamaning uwa nga mabuhi, nga malinaw. Ito na usap ako, ito na ngayon ako, nga dunay kalibutan, nadigin ang mga tao, handa mo respeto, mapaubos mo pa sa'yo. Kini kalibutan ang naghatag na to paglao. Bago na kayo ang naibawan ko. Matapos na damuhalan sa kagalingon, ano lang kalinaw o pag-iusap, muhari sa kalibutan. Laing katawhan ay ako. Ang mga tao di magpaugat, ang tanan kalipayon, nga maninuha, nga mabuhi, nga malinahon. Ito na usap ako, ito na ngayon ako. Wailaing bahagi, sapagkat ubag sa problema sa kalibutan, gawas sa pag-iguma. Kini ang bago nga katawan nga ito sa ito ko. Ito na usap ako, ito na ngayon ako. Walaing paagi, sapagkat ubag sa problema sa kalibutan, gawas sa pag-iguma. Kini ang bago nga katawan nga ito sa guma.